This is an Undiscovered legacy production and proud member of PodNation Media Network.
I really feel because I showed this to them, they accepted me. So even though it was only one talk that I showed them, even though I was only a part of 2, I wanted to be a part of 5. You could see how even not quite hitting your goals still has a domino effect of what you can use and the goals that we can hit anyway. So always keep that in mind when you're doing things and setting goals for yourself. Even if you don't hit the exact goal that you've set for yourself, you can see how even just hitting a part of a goal can still have a domino effect into something even greater, even more wonderful than you thought could have even happened. But it wouldn't have happened if you didn't take that first step. All right, Scoob believers, let's get across the start line with me, Scoob. As the first episode of 2026 is here. All right, hello, Scoob believers. And this is me, Scoob, Jesse Blunt, here at the very beginning. This is my very first episode of 2026. So just like my first episode of 2025, we're going to do a follow-up with everything that I've done up to this point, goals and things that I've set up for myself for this year coming up. And let's see how I did with my goals for last year. So just real quick, I'm going to go over my goals from last year. My first goals were personal goals. This has a lot to do with what I'd like to do with my life as things go along here. So one of my first things that I wanted to do is get to PodFest. Now, I did get to PodFest in 2025. Once again, I am going to PodFest here in 2026. I have people now that I've met that are actually expecting me to show up because they know they want to see how things are going, want to see where I've been, what I've been up to, and that kind of thing too. It's really great to be able to have a family to come back with and say, hey, what did you do? And what are your goals again for this next year and that kind of thing. I'm going to kind of cross a little bit here because I am speaking at PodFest. Now, one of my major goals I wanted to have for this last year kind of melted into this year, but it's to speak on live stages. Now, I understand that in my business goals, I asked to myself to be on 3 live stages. I got to 1. Which is one more than I've ever been in my life. And that's the one that's going to be coming up at PodFest. So you want to stay tuned for this too. If you want to stay tuned to the podcast, subscribe, whatever you want to do to follow so you can listen to the podcast and hear that speaking engagement that I'm going to be putting together about the 4 hurdles of stop and how we can use those as guiding, as guides, as stepping stones into something new that we probably wouldn't have done before. Another thing was I wanted to cut one of my jobs. I am still working both jobs. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted. Well, I did, however, put in my resignation at one of my jobs on January 1st, 2027. So I'm giving myself 1 year to start making things for myself my own way and be able to cut one of my jobs. And if all goes well, like I'm pretty sure they will, I'm only going to go to part-time on my second job. So I'll be only working part-time, but doing this full-time to be with my Scoob believers. So I didn't quite make my personal goal of cutting jobs for last year. This year, it is on the block, I guess you could say. So let's follow that. The other thing is my kids, the support of my kids. I did go over a little bit of my episode last year of my goals. This year, I've started putting some stuff together for my daughter, helping her along in her entrepreneur adventure by putting together videos of her making her dolls. And it's really been working out really well for her. She's starting to get a few followers. People are starting to understand what she's doing and how she's doing it. And at the same time, she's teaching people how she's doing what she's doing so they could do it themselves if they wanted to. So at the same time, she's helping people. She's also helping herself because she is a little bit of an introvert when it comes to the camera. She's definitely an extrovert when there's no camera around, kind of like me. So it's very interesting to see her growth as an entrepreneur and her making her own dolls, art, and things of that nature. My son still does a lot of his work in blacksmithing. He's had a lot of great things happening for him. I don't want to get too much into that for him. He's been doing really well. And also my youngest son's learning to cook. He has been working at a convention center, cooking for hundreds of people at a time. So I'm really proud of him for that. So my kids have been really, really important to me this year. And next year I could only see them grow, and I want to see them grow, and I will help them with that. So we're going to see how they do as far as that goes. Now, my podcast goals for last year, I said I was going to make 52 episodes for you last year. And guess what? We actually hit that goal. I made 52 episodes. I didn't skip a single one. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. That is definitely something I never thought I'd be able to do, because my life is pretty hectic if you haven't been listening already with everything that I do. Once again, we're going to keep that goal going on. I'm going to have 52 episodes for you, and we're going to upgrade a couple too. I do have my business conversations with Pi every other week. I might be doing some upgrading there. Pi might get a different voice and some deeper information for you. So keep a listen for that. The other goal that I had for myself last year, and unfortunately I didn't make this one, and I do have to apologize to my school believers, but the solo episodes, unfortunately, I did not put a single solo episode out. I think the fear just kind of got the best of me for this last year, and I just want to be a little bit vulnerable about that. It's still one of my biggest fears, and it's been very, very difficult for me to overcome this one. But like I've been saying lately, and this is kind of new for me, but using that fear as a driving force, as a guide to be able to do something different for myself that I'm not quite comfortable doing, but I am getting better at it. So we are, once again, instead of just saying I'm going to do more solo episodes, I'm going to do a minimum of 5 solo episodes for you this next year. So instead of just being kind of willy-nilly about saying I'm going to do solo episodes, I'm going to at least give myself a number this time. And I think that's where I kind of fell short last year. So this year I'm going to have at least 5 solo episodes for you, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now, one of my biggest goals I had for the podcast, having Pat Flynn on my podcast. And Screw Believers, we did actually meet that goal. We actually had Pat Flynn on the podcast talking about his book, Lean Learning. All the plans definitely aligned for that one, because a lot of the teachings he has in Lean Learning coincide with the teachings that I have here about the 4 hurdles of stop: perfectionism, imposter syndrome, failure, and fear. So I'm really glad that worked out for you. This year, if I'm going to reach out to anybody, this year, reaching out to one of the greatest authors, and she has one of the biggest podcasts out right now. Mel Robbins is her name. She wrote the Let Them Theory, and she has a great vast knowledge about the 4 hurdles of stop and how they affect us and what we could do to overcome them. This is going to be a really even more difficult than Pat Flynn, from what I've heard, because when I talked to Pat Flynn actually about having Mel on my podcast, he has yet to even be able to get a hold of her to be able to be on his podcast. So this is really kind of one of those things where you hit the goal, hit the stars, but at least land on the moon. Who knows? Well, we're going to try to get Mel Robbins on the podcast this year. So that's we're going to see how that goes. I'm still trying to get listener feedback. I'm having a really difficult time getting listener feedback for my podcast. I do have more subscribers this year. I've had more people listening this year than last year. I am getting increases in my YouTube channel subscribers, so things are starting to go up there. I'm hoping it's going to be enough where people will actually want to reach out to me, ask questions, and give me feedback about my podcast. So if you feel the need or the want to reach out and give me any kind of feedback, good or bad, I can handle it. Don't worry. I could handle any kind of feedback right now, but I would really enjoy having you tell me what you want to hear in my podcast. I'm hoping this year, well, at least I have a couple of people that'll reach out to me and tell me what they actually would like to hear. If we could do that, we will definitely have improvements. Things will change. But for now, we're just going to keep going the way we're going and hope for the best. That's the only really way to do it at this point, is just to keep moving forward until I hear different. So let's keep that rolling. I really want to hear from you. Please reach out to me in the usual places that you'll hear about probably at the end here. So business-wise, I do not have any clients. Last year, I asked myself to have 2 coaching clients. Unfortunately, I did not achieve that this year. I have a lot more opportunity this year coming up because of speaking at PodFest and having that credential underneath my belt. I think would be a great benefit for having clients realize who I really am and what I'm really about. So I'm going to kind of stick to that for this year, to coaching clients and helping them get across the start line, understand what their zone of genius is, and help them along in their entrepreneur adventure. And we'll see where it goes from there. If you want to have me coach you, reach out to me. I do have a special for first-time coaching clients. We'll talk about that at the end here. So I have yet to make a serious income from my podcast. We're still in the business part here, and the podcast is my business. I do, however, have a couple of affiliates that are working with me, and I'm helping to promote their product, and they're paying me in return. Right now I have an affiliate program with Descript, and that's my editing. That's the editing tool that I use for my podcast. It's awesome. I really suggest it. If it's your first time working with a podcast, it's so easy. The AI is awesome in it. Look into that. You could reach that affiliate at tuepodcast.net/Descript. The other one I have is kind of new for me, Rise Coffee, Rise Mushroom Coffee. I've actually been taking Rise Mushroom Coffee for some time. It's really awesome. The one other one I have is Opus Clip. Definitely look into that too. I want to reach out also to PodNation. PodNation, if you remember, is the podcast network that I'm a part of. My role there has changed. Last year, I was in charge of sales and shows. I have now become the CEO of PodNation Media Network. So I am officially running that podcast network right now and helping the podcasts that are in that network grow. If you want to learn more about PodNation Media Network, look into my bio of any of the podcasts. Look into the bio of this video, or go to my podcast, or check us out on Roku TV, PodNation Media, and see what we have going on there. It's a lot of there's 10 of us now, and we're reaching out to a lot of listeners. So check us out. But that is a huge step for me, because now I actually have a team that's working with me and around me, and we're all like-minded new podcasters that are working together to accomplish a goal. So check that out. Now, a goal I had for myself from last year was starting a newsletter. Unfortunately, I was not able to start the newsletter. It was just too much on top of everything that I'm doing right now to be able to even start that. With new advances in AI and some new references that I have, I might put out one a month. Actually, yes, I will put out a newsletter once a month about new things that are happening in the podcast, what I'm learning about in the podcast, and things that I've talked about. So keep an eye and ear, depending on what you're doing here, either watching it on YouTube or listening to it on the podcast, for that newsletter to start coming out this year. I will definitely give you updates on that. Another business goal that I had for myself was to have 3 talks. I touched on this a little bit earlier. I did not reach 3 talks, but like I said, I have 1, and 1 is probably going to be, 1 is actually good enough. 1 is 1 more than I ever had before in my life. So that's got to count for something, right? We're making steps towards something, even though it's not 3. And I'm not going to beat myself up because I didn't get to 3 stages. Getting to stage 1 to begin with, getting to a stage to begin with is hard enough, and getting 1 accepted on there is a dream for me. This is really the thing. I really feel this is the one thing that's really going to help people understand who I am and what I'm about. Keep an eye out. Like I said, keep an eye out on the podcast. Hopefully, if things go the way I plan, I will have that talk for you here in some way, shape, or form. So look for that. I also want to do 5 virtual talks. I only got 2 virtual talks. But the nice thing is I think because of the virtual talk that I did do is what actually got me to the live talk that I'm doing for PodFest coming up here in this year, which is probably actually going to be from the time of this recording in about a week. So we're going to see how that goes. But the point here is it's because I did that 1 virtual talk and used it as a tool to show the people at PodFest that this is what I do, this is how I talk, this is what my talk is about. Instead of just telling them what it is, I showed it to them. I had something tangible in my hand and I said, here, this is the way I do it. Dang. And because I really feel because I showed this to them, they accepted me. So even though it was only one talk that I showed them, even though I was only a part of 2, I wanted to be a part of 5. You could see how even not quite hitting your goals still has a domino effect of what you can use and the goals that we can hit anyway. So always keep that in mind when you're doing things and setting goals for yourself. Even if you don't hit the exact goal that you've set for yourself, you could see how even just hitting a part of a goal could still have a domino effect into something even greater, even new, even more wonderful than you thought could have even happened. But it wouldn't have happened if you didn't take that first step. And that's what getting across the start line is all about. Always take that first step. And if you don't quite hit the goal that you want to, it's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up over it because you didn't hit 3 live talks or 5 virtual talks. As long as you hit something in there, you know you're making progress. And in knowing that you made progress, you know you can use that progress into something else newer, bigger, brighter, and amazing for yourself. So please, true believers, keep yourself going. Keep yourself moving. You will always have a way to move. Even if you're scared, even if you're feeling the 4 hurdles to stop, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, failure, and fear, you're still going the right way because you're feeling those things. And because you're feeling those things, you have to understand that the hurdles aren't in the way. The hurdles are the way. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much, True Believers, for another great year. And I'm really looking forward to 2026 and to see where we all go from here. All right, everybody. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.